Today we are going to talk about the meaning of power of zero and free will. So let's write down here power of zero and free will. To understand the concept behind this process, we need to understand the other terminology called field of thoughts. Field of thoughts. What is field of thoughts? Like right now you're watching me and listening to this video. That's in your visual field. Now look around on your left side and your right side. You will see a lot of other things as well. So that are also in the visual field. But when you focus your visual acuity on something, your vision on certain things, that becomes the main portion of your life at that moment. The same way, there is a field of thoughts. There is a field that mind uses. Let's look at it. Like suppose it's a field of thought that mind is going to use. There are thousands and thousands of thoughts and information keep coming to the brain cells in the mind. Now, out of that, brain has a very fantastic mechanism that it will automatically suppress certain things and certain things become more predominant. Whichever thought takes your attention, your focus, that becomes that main thought for that moment. Again, we discussed that the life is all about moments. Every second new moment comes. That new moment comes as a zero level, and you will have a continuous new thought as well. So now let's say, for example, that you are preparing for a nice party at your home, and you have invited about 100-150 people, and so because you are preparing for this party for some time, you already putting your energy into it. So that's all on your mind for about a month or 2 weeks, depending on the party and who are coming, of course. So now your all energy or all thoughts focus on the party and the guest and preparations and everything, the food and drinks and whatever you're planning to. Also whether somebody will come or somebody will not come, what they'll talk about it and all that thing. Now during that day, in the morning, suppose you get a splinter in your finger. Now what happens? It hurting you actually a little bit. You can't take it out. So what happens? Your mind will automatically go to that splinter throughout the day. So now your focus has changed. You're focusing instead of party, your focus is taken away by this splinter. Now what happens? The party starts, people are coming. Instead of talking about other things, you may or probably will be talking about the splinter, that how did you get it, the whole story, that you were doing this and this happened and you tried this and your husband or your wife will say they tried this, and the whole story goes about this now splinter. So the splinter took your energy, totally you're taken focus from you, from the party. So now this splinter becomes your life. This is a splinter, suppose S. This is a party. So focus was all party before. Now this becomes a bigger picture, and that takes away your life. And as we said, life is all moments, and so that moment, the splinter becomes your life. You may remember the splinter after 2-3 years even. That's happened. So now, as we understand that the thought is very important, the thought are negative and positive. Thought maybe have to be enough frequency and enough intensity to take your focus. Okay, you decided, okay, I want to be a billionaire or millionaire, and you just keep focusing on that. But that focus has to have a higher intensity, increasing frequency. Then and then you could become a millionaire or whatever goal you have in your life that you can achieve. So not only just having a thought, okay, I decide certain thing and it will happen. I have to have enough frequency, enough intensity. That frequency, intensity will make my life, my body, my whole life to focus on that, and I will be changing everything in my life to reach to that goal, or you will reach to that goal. So you have to understand that frequency and intensity of the thought will determine whether that thought will turn into an action or not. If you just decide certain things, you think about it, it doesn't happen. It's not like that randomly you think, have a thought and it happens. It has to enough frequency, intensity, and then action. Suppose you, when one person asks me this way, that okay, I want to be a billionaire and I want to think every day, in the morning, night and everything. What happens? That thought goes to your intellect department, that is a faculty of mind. And that intellect as well as memory department it goes to. There's a third faculty of the mind. They will determine, they will process just like computer, whether this thought is possible or not. Now intellect will say, hey, probably not possible. Memory will find out all the memory from his memory that is impossible, there are these requirements things and I don't think, then that thought will fade. But if the person is determined and continues to think, then it can change the process as well. Now we going to decide what are the negative thoughts and what are the positive thoughts and what it means. And what zero means. Zero means that number zero actually. And we, as we learned in the school, that zero on its, this side is positive charge and this side is that negative charge or negative numbers. It goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, positive and negative numbers. And more you go is more negativity on that side. So basically our goal is to start at zero, and I'll explain to you why we should start all our thought process at zero, particularly when we are going to take decision about certain things, and why we use our free will. Let's look at it this. What are the negative thoughts? We say that thoughts are two types, negative and positive thoughts. In general, life is all about feeling things. So whichever thought gives us a feeling of unhappiness, that's negative thoughts. And when we say about feeling of unhappiness, means with ourselves or with the surroundings or with the friends and families, whichever situation you are, whichever thought comes at that moment into you, and if it makes you unhappy, remember that that's a negative thought. For example, as soon as you have feeling of insecurity, that will give you unhappy thoughts right away, because look at, I don't think I can do it, or any negative symptoms or doubts. If you are instead of insecure, if you have secure thoughts, like that gives you security, that okay, it will be done, not to worry, or faith, that will give you a happy feeling instantly. So we have a switch in the mind that we can switch from this end to this end. Fear, as soon as I have any fear about anything, any future fear or something that you did it, and whether people will tell you about something, fear, and opposite is a confidence or fearless. Then other major symptoms or major thoughts that makes us unhappy is ego or anger related to ego. Basically anger comes when your ego is not met. And that anger, as soon as you get angry, you feel totally, completely unhappy with yourself, because you are not under control and you are think that situation is not under your control, and that's the ego hurting, and that's become angry more. So opposite of ego is humility or egoless, and anger is calm. Other one is like a greed for wealth or any matter for greed, and opposite of greed is contentment. As soon as you become contented with your situation, it will be a financial or relationship, if you contented with it, you will feel very happy. If you feel contented with the situation, then you feel happy right away about that things. And it's not just happens, there is a biological process happens when you have that emotion in your system, that certain type of secretions will start taking place, and it will make you feel better. And that also scientifically proven thing now, that when you take imaging studies of the brain, particularly when you are on this positive spectrum, your images are very nice compared to this side, which revolves totally distorted images of the function of the brain. And we actually have, we don't have to tell you because you already experienced that. And once you have experienced that certain times, lot of proof, you just get it from your experience. Like for example, I dropped this pen down here, it just went down. Now this the law of gravity came about few hundred years ago. But the same pen, if I had dropped 20,000 years ago, it was falling down still. At that time, 20,000 years ago, we had experienced that gravity or something like gravity works, but we did not have proof. Our mind, particularly intellect faculty of the mind, always wanting the proof. And now we have proof. Same thing, remaining on these sides, you will experience yourself that you will feel happy. Now, suppose the war is negative. Emotions, war means thoughts, wars about any kind of war, not just physical war, mental wars, and peace is the opposite of it. Now, Mother Teresa used to say that don't call me for any anti-war rally. She got a Nobel Prize for peace, but she says that don't call me for anti-war rally, and the reason is that anti-war rally starts when there's a war. So let's go. How you go from war to peace? There are two ways to go from war to peace. You can join an anti-war rally, and that's called anti-war rally. She says that please don't call me for any anti-war rally, but I will be more than happy to join any peace rally. Now peace rally starts at 0. That's a peace rally. Now see the difference here. I have to use half the energy to reach from this point to this point, compared to I have to reach from this point to this point. Not only half energy, but half the time. So when you start the process at 0, it is a benefit. You don't have to travel from to get to a 0 level and from 0 to the positivity. Because we want in our life happiness. We just discussed that this is all happiness. We don't want any of these things because it brings unhappiness. So now if we are intelligent people, and once we decide that we want to stay here, and also we discuss that why it is easier to use this 0 to start the process and choose this direction with our free will. Free will, it comes from inside. There are different definitions, and depending on the what setting you're using, in a legal way or social way or ethical way, but in general, free will comes deep inside you. Nobody is telling you. And again, we have discussed before that if somebody tells you to do it, you won't do it, you don't like to do it. But if you're using your free will and you do it, you will probably choose it, and then you will stick to it more than just somebody telling you and you doing it, because you're using your free will, and that's the power of using free will at the power of 0.